All right, I wanted to make a video about Matt Olsen. I wanted to make a video about Eugenio Suarez and everybody, but I said, you know what? There's so much news, I might as well just make it a live stream. So I am, of course, Ranking About Sports, joined by Andrew Acevedo and Metsfan, as we are going to talk about the free agency signings and trades that happened today, some of the injury news that happened with the Mets and around Major League Baseball, some of the rumors going around Major League Baseball, and just our other general thoughts about certain teams and the directions they're headed based off the moves that they made in the past couple of days. So we will start off with the move that happened first this morning. We get the tweet that Brad Hand is officially off the board as he heads over to the division rival Philadelphia Phillies, 1 year, $6 million. And I think it's really interesting that after the Phillies pick up former New York Met Jeurys Familia, they say, you know what? You know what would take us to the next level, actually get us in the playoffs? If we go and get another former Met, let's go get Brad Hand, who I hope that if the Mets do intend on keeping J.D. Davis and you want to roll for J.D. Davis, when Brad Hand comes into the game, that's when you pinch hit J.D. Davis. So put these guys in situations to succeed. I think it's going to be really interesting because we know the struggles that the Phillies have had with their bullpen. That's why they're signing these guys. We know we got to try something. So I think that's going to be really interesting. Andrew, what are your thoughts on Mr. Hand? Do you have any, kind of memes about Brad Hand or anything you want to share about him?
I mean, I can say my expression with Brad Hand with just one picture.
Hand.
There you go. King Shark legendary.
Again, Philly loves garbage bullpen arms. They take Familia. They take Brad Hand. I mean, are we surprised that, they picked up Knebel, which has been their best pickup that they've had all offseason. I think he's going to be their closer. But, I get trying to throw darts at a dartboard, but, you're picking up, you're taking the dart, dropping it in dog poop, and then picking it up and try to hopefully it sticks. So, again, Brad Hand's a lefty. It's going to be great when, Pete Alonso or – oh, my God, I said his full name. I was just talking about I never say his full name on live streams. I actually said his full name. Lindor, it's a big homer off him. But, again, it's a lefty. He's not as good as he used to be.
Yeah. Do you know how Phillies fans are feeling about this? Have you seen any, Philly fan reactions to it so far?
I mean, I'm getting flamed on TikTok because I said, Jerry's Familia was Hector Neris 2.0. So I think I called him JC Romero 2.0. So, Philly fans and me right now, they're not happy. They're yelling for Bryant and for Dabrowski to sign somebody. Will they do that? I don't know. But again, I mean, it's the Phillies bullpen. It's a dumpster fire, and it's always going to be a dumpster fire.
Yeah, and we saw Brad Hand as a Met fans. He came that last month, the season, September, and he really was not the Brad Hand that I was hoping for. He clearly is not the same guy. He's getting up there in age. He's lost some of his fastball velocity, which is big. He has his slider, but it's not as wipeout as it was before getting Harris to chase the way he used to. And he was just inconsistent. We saw him have some good outings, but we definitely saw him have some bad outings. And his metrics don't look encouraging or promising to where you could see any kind of resurgence of getting close to the Cleveland guy. I mean, at this point, it's only going to get worse, it feels like, with his age right now.
Cooked. The man's cooked. I mean, I don't even know what to say. He's just he just went through this complete hole, and now he's just completely trying to dig out of it, and he's just done. I don't know. I don't even know what to say anymore. He's going. What is he, 34, 35? I mean,
he's around there.
Yeah. You're around there, yeah.
I mean, he's just looked terrible. I mean, I don't know what to say anymore. From the arm angle and the theory's thing is the arm angle that he throws from, it's so easy to tip pitches from that arm angle. So unless he changes that thing, I don't even know what to say anymore. He's just gone that's, I don't know.
I think from a Phillies perspective, I mean, if you are indeed trying to improve your bullpen, a Familia Hand, it's not going to do too much for you if you really think you're going to turn a weakness into a strength or make it, semi-reasonable to compete with all the offenses you're going to see all over the National League. So let's get over to the Mets news because that was the next thing that happened. All of a sudden, we see a tweet that Starling Marte did not participate in workouts because he has oblique soreness. And I was thinking to myself, it's like, here we go. I mean, you come to a Met, all of a sudden an oblique flares up or something like that. We know Starling Marte is 34 years old. The guy was riding horses, So, I mean, anytime an outfielder who's a free agency signing and came from the Oakland Athletics is riding a horse, we usually know what follows. And I really hope this is not the case. But one of the things I was thinking about is that when the Blue Jays signed George Springer, he had that oblique problem for a while. He didn't start the season on time. And that was one of the concerns about Springer, is that you're signing a center fielder who is above 30. And my concern with starting Marte is this is only year one. His health is only going to get worse as time goes on. Buck said it's not a big thing. Obliques always are a big thing, in my opinion. They're one of those tricky things that's like you don't really know what to do, and it could get bad real quickly. And it's something that could keep you out for quite a bit of time. I mean, look at Francisco Lindor. He had an oblique problem this season, and it cost him to miss quite a chunk of the year. So it's nothing to mess around with. Obviously, fingers crossed he's okay, but I definitely would not count on it. Andrew, what was your reaction when you saw Starling Marte has some oblique soreness and has not been able to participate in workouts yet?
I mean, I'm not going to say I told you so. I'm not going to say that because it's not like I told you on Mets Weekly weeks ago that this guy was going to come in, is going to get injury prone, and everyone's like, oh, he's better than Emma. We need this guy. I mean, again, he's a veteran. He's had has had injuries in the past. We knew this was going to happen. And it's a Mets free agency signing. So you knew it was going to come. I mean, the second day of spring training, I guess you can call it. First day of like full team workouts. He's already getting hurt. Buck's saying it's not a big deal, but obviously, like you said, the oblique, you don't mess with obliques. You don't anything with the oblique and the elbow, you don't mess with. So, again, it's not surprising that, oh God, Starling Marte is already hurt. Obviously, I think hopefully maybe it's maybe a week of rest, maybe he's back out there. But I'm not surprised, nor should anyone be surprised. But it does sucks to see.
Is it worth considering, Mets fan, maybe having Marte not play too much center field, maybe move him to a corner just so he's not running around as much? I mean, Nimmo has his injury concerns, and Starling Marte is off to a good start, but is that something that maybe would help him not get hurt as often?
I think putting him in the corners is probably the best thing to do. Obviously, Canada's got to go in one of the other corners. I truly believe, and I think that Nimmo is the best guy to put in center field, and I've believed that for a while. I understand, wherever he's playing or whatever position he's playing. I mean, that's, again, I'm pretty sure Gary DiSarcina had something to do with that. So I'm not going to really put that much stock into that. And to be honest, we had to get him, right? We had to get him. Conforto had to go. We needed a change, right? So, yeah, enjoy 4 years of this.
Yeah, that's the concerning part. Is that it literally is only year one, and he's not going to get any healthier. But, I mean, that's what happens when you do get older. And then the next bit of news we had revolving the Mets and how their health is going. All of a sudden, we see that Taijuan Walker, he had a procedure done in January for his knee, and now his, question mark to start the season on time. And it's like, well, why is this guy having a procedure in January? What the heck was he doing to his knee that all of a sudden he needs something to be done? And I'll tell you what, good thing the Mets already traded for Chris Bassett. Because if this news came out and then, I mean, could that have affected the A's perspective? It's like, wait a minute, you guys need Bassett even more. Maybe we should up the price, as if giving up a top 5 prospect wasn't enough. Oh, you guys need another pitcher now. So maybe we really could, make it a tougher deal for you. But Taijuan Walker, we knew when the Mets signed him, this guy has an injury concern. He had been hurt just about every single year besides 2020, and that was only a shortened season. And we saw this year trying to manage a new workload. He got gas in the second half. Was not the same guy, completely different workload. And now he has this knee thing, so he's not going to have a full spring training. And now we know that this season you have the 9-inning doubleheaders, few off days. So I just don't really see Taijuan really getting into any kind of rhythm. And the chances of him staying healthy the whole year, doing it 2 years in a row, I think are really low. So, Metsman, what were your thoughts when you saw Taijuan Walker? And, I mean, should the Mets now be looking at maybe another starter? Or, I mean, what is your approach to this?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this off stream. I mean, about a 6-man rotation, kind of protecting those older guys at the top and some of the older guys in the middle. Taijuan Walker's obviously not, he probably won't be ready for opening day because as a big guy that he is, I think that type of thing is probably going to linger and probably he's going to, be out for a little bit of a while. So, You also have Carrasco, who's also a question mark right now. So, I mean, to be honest, it's Tyler McGill time. It's time for him to shine, and he's going to shine. But you know, if they could, maybe go after Tyler Malley, maybe go after somebody else, somebody that can put in the back end of that rotation, maybe be your number 5 and move somebody else to the bullpen or something. Or I don't like it because I don't think that he's designed to be a major league starter. But David Peterson's another option. You can put him in there. I mean, so we'll see what they do with this. I've gotten kind of a bad taste in my mouth about Walker recently. It's just at this point, I mean, the main focus is the fact that fastball is completely unthrowable at this point. So we'll see what happens, but I think they'll take it day by day with him. They're going to be, they're going to be precautious about it, and hopefully he'll be back to be that back end of the rotation type of guy. And he's a 5-starter at best, and he was pitching like a 3 in the first half. So, maybe he does something, but I'm here moving on to other arms that we have. So.
And what's crazy that literally the other night I was saying, oh, well, the fact that now the Mets got Bassett, you can make Walker your 5th. Maybe you can even have Tyler McGill rest up in the minor leagues because the Mets are going to have this kind of depth. And then literally within 2 days, you're like, well, wait a second. Is Tyler Walker even going to be able to make the opening day roster? Because Buck could say that he's going to make it, but I mean, we know how these things go. We saw with Carrasco, oh, he'll be ready. We see the guy till months later. So you never know how these things are going to go. And Andrew, one of the guys I was going to bring up was Danny Duffy, but he had a procedure as well. He's not going to be available to pitch until like June or something like that. Another guy like Matthew Boyd, he's not available to pitch till like middle of the season. So are there any of those other like lower level guys the Mets could look at just to be a 5 to 6? Hopefully an ideal world, maybe could slot to the bullpen, because we really don't want to go back to a David Peterson, do we? I mean, I just think that it would be kind of risky. We saw a good Peterson. We saw a bad David Peterson. So, Andrew, is there anyone else that you were looking at prior to Bassett to kind of fill in the free agent market, or even a trade? I mean, because like we said, the Mets still have J.D. Davis, still have Dom Smith, all these guys. Is there even a nice depth piece in the trade market they could pursue?
I mean, Martino did throw a name out for a depth piece, and that is Arizona Diamondbacks starter Luke Weaver, that the Mets have done a lot of work on him. So maybe that is the pivot to that. I'm trying to think the Danny Duffy thing. I don't require surgery, maybe out.
Call up Rick Porcello.
Yeah, give him a ring. Yeah, I saw something that Danny Duffy had some kind of procedure and won't be ready till about like June-ish.
So yeah, I'm trying to maybe require surgery or may opt to retire. What the? Okay, maybe not.
Yeah, but yeah, how do we feel about him? I mean, he's all right. I guess for like a couple starts he could fill in, but
yeah,
you still would like to
call up Oakland again. I mean, try to get a fucking
Mania. I mean, obviously, me and Frank have been hard for Tyler Malley, so I think that would be a guy. Hey, if you want to get a legit rotation, I would love, and you would have to, and it's not going to happen. But you would have to maybe attach one of the bad contracts to either Carrasco or some, just to make the money work. Because I mean, yes, the Mets have this ungodly amount of money, but like you still want to be able to, if you can, to flip one of those contracts going the other way. But again, a guy like Tyler Anderson, a guy like I know Carlos Martinez just signed, and the Giants got that for an absolute steal.
Minor league deal.
On a minor league deal, but yeah, they'll find somebody. I can pull up the list real quick of who some guys are. Michael Pineda is not a bad name. It's maybe just cheaper option. I know he's on the market. Give me 1 sec. I can pull up the list. But
I just don't know if Pineda's a guy. Yeah, I just don't know if he's a guy you want to make him a 6 and then like maybe move him to a bullpen. I don't really know if he suits that role. But as far as this first part, yes. Second part, no. I'm not trading Brett Beatty for Josh Hader. So
I mean, if Yamo's health was not uncertain, then you'd probably could be able to slip him in there.
Trevor Williams. I mean, he when he pitched, pitched well. I guess as of right now, I would still like to see the Mets sign somebody or add somebody, but you could pretty much have a spring training battle and see who could earn maybe like fifth to sixth spot. Like, let's say Yamamoto has a great spring training and David Pearson struggles a little bit. Okay, fine, Yamamoto, you get the first crack at it, and then kind of go from there. But I still think just in case, they really should try to get at least one more guy, because I really would. I just don't trust it. I mean, you really are banking on it if you think that Walker's going to make it through the year healthy. I wouldn't count on it. Carrasco, like I said, we saw what happened last year. And similar to Marte, Carrasco's getting older. It only gets tougher. DeGrom, obviously, he was in and out. Scherzer's up there in age. So, as tough as he is, you just never know. So, you always want to be prepared for everything. And Chris Bassett is now a Met. So, again, anything could happen. You can never assume with how this team goes. And then, I mean, Chafin, he's the hot name out there right now. Exactly. I mean, that's one thing I was thinking is, like, what are they going to do? Because Tony Watson is available, but he's not Andrew Chafin. And what I was thinking about is that you lost Aaron Loop, and you're like, okay, it was too many years. It was too much money. We'll get somebody else. And it's like, okay, well, who's that somebody else going to be? I mean, that's the thing I've been starting to think of, because Loop happened right in the beginning of free agency, way before the lockout even started. And he was just so good for the Mets. And I just feel like when it comes to relievers, you're taking a risk with relievers regardless. But like we always say, a guy that was good in a Mets uniform, do you want to try to get somebody else who you've never seen in a Mets uniform before, a guy like Tony Watson, and be like, okay, is that guy going to be able to fill in? I mean, how are you guys feeling about Chafin, Watson? Is there another name you've been looking at? Because I think the Mets might have to pursue the trade market again, because like the starters, other than Chafin, there's nobody that's really like, wow, Mets got to get him, because your guy Jake Diekman's already gone. So, I mean, where do they turn?
Here's my deal. Did anyone – I mean, this is maybe not as broad of a question, but last year, did anyone really know who Aaron Loop was? Yes, he played for the Blue Jays and he went to the Reds. But did anyone actually see him as a legit elite reliever? No. He was
I saw
good.
him pitch with the Rays. I think he'd have like what should have been an all-star year.
All-star year. So just because right now, what are you doing?
I knew he was going to be elite.
Shut up. Okay. No, you did. Shut up.
I picked him as my breakout candidate, sweetheart.
Shut up, nerd. Besides the point, the Mets, again, if they can try to find a way to get Aaron Loop again, to find this guy for 1 year, $3 million, maybe it's Watson, maybe it's, a guy who just retired. Adam Conley. That was a guy that a lot of people said as like a under the radar lefty to go get. He obviously retired. But you can find arms. Like can the Mets find another Aaron Loop? Where not like the production of, hey, you're not going to get a 1 ERA. You're not getting that. So your ideas of getting a 1 ERA lefty is not happening. So get that out of your head. Can you find? What you got? What you got?
Go ahead, man.
No, if only Richard Blyer was available, man.
Of course, the elite Richard Blyer, but
monster. He's a free agent next year.
He's a next year reliever.
My one concern about Watson is that in May he's turning 37. It's like that's a tough age, man. I mean, trust me, I know all about once you get up there in age, it's really difficult to be successful and again be durable. I just think the Mets definitely they just had this idea that we'll be good. I think they got to pursue a trade market. I don't want to settle. I really don't want to settle. I mean, I've been seeing people mention Taylor Rogers. That's gonna.
They're buying. The Twins are buying now. So
exactly. The Twins, they've made a lot of moves, and we'll get to that. But
there is one name, and Metsfan knows where I'm going with this. On Oakland, make him a reliever. Get my hands on AJ Puck. If they're selling, get AJ Puck.
Monster.
He's not ARB yet. He's still making nothing. If the A's are blowing it up, I am calling them right now for that lefty. And if they're trading Puck, I am jumping on that.
Hefner could possibly turn him into Josh Hader. I'm not going to lie.
Exactly. He could be Hader, a taller version of Josh Hader.
Same hair. So
same hair.
The problem is that Oakland's looking for guys that are like closer to free agency. So I don't think they're going to move Puck yet. You'd have to really wow them.
Let me check.
And it's just tough to wow for a pitch, especially if you're a guy you're going to make into a relief pitcher. So I think it's
fine. Really we'll take Matt Olsen off their hands just to get the Puck. Fine, we'll do that.
I know, right? No, but take Matt Chapman and I don't know something else. I mean, the Oakland A's are still for sale. The yard sale is not over quite yet. They still have a few pieces that could very easily be moved. Whether it's Manaya,
trying to collect that money for Las Vegas,
whoever else. They got to get everybody ready to move over to Vegas. Let's see. Mets could pursue Davis and Bruce and trade market. Yeah. I would hate to lose Mauricio for a reliever, though.
I think Mauricio is going to be. I think that's going to be a deadline move if he
Deadline.
does get
That's the piece they have to use. Yeah.
Yeah, if like let's say the Mets have some kind of injury to offense or somebody really underperforms and they need to get a bat, Mauricio might be the guy to get that bat come trade deadline time. So you definitely want to save him up. I'm as of right now, I'm probably moving a JD or a Dom before I move Mauricio, only because I feel like Ronnie could get a little more just because of him still being a prospect and not really knowing what he is yet. Whereas Dom, we're kind of like we feel like we know what he is. JD Davis, we feel like we kind of know who he is. So I saw.
I think he got taller.
Who got taller? Mauricio.
Mauricio. This man is massive. Like he is massive. That's not a shortstop. I'm sorry. That's not a shortstop.
Well, I mean, yeah, with Lindor for a million years, he could move to second or third, and probably second because third's kind of packed. But I saw the White Sox were kind of looking at Michael Conforto, and I think that's a really good fit for them because they could use a right fielder. I mean, Conforto, you know what you're going to get is going to be really good this year, and then after that, who knows? But I definitely think that the White Sox could pursue one of those outfielders. Eloy, I mean, does he want DH? What do you think, Andrew? Is there one you got?
No, there's an obvious guy the White Sox could use to play second base and can help the Mets. We'll flip you Jeff McNeil, but then in return, I want Aaron Bummer and Yoelqui Cespedes. You can have that.
Really? Yeah, I saw John Heyman mention that McNeil is a fit for Chicago, and I'm like, what is Chicago going to give up in return? Because they're a team that's like just about as close to the Mets to winning. So I just don't see a move where like both teams get better. Yeah, I feel like the White Sox have to part with something where they don't necessarily become better.
They got too many relievers, so somany's got to. They can move one of those relievers. I'm not going to say the Hall of Fame reliever.
I'm not moving McNeil for a reliever. You know, I can't do it. What happened?
No, I get the buzz. It's not. No.
Okay. All right.
We have Cano. We're fine.
We have plenty of second base. We got Carlos Tez. We got Robinson Cano, Escobar.
We'll get some Mariners in a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing we have another bit of news: Fernando Tatis Jr. breaking his wrist, and it is some people think it is from a motorcycle accident, some kind of biking accident. And when he was asked about the accident, Tatis said, "Which one?" And that is the real story. The fact they said which one, I mean, you have multiple accidents. And think of how much San Diego has invested in the guy. 10 years, $340 million. Maybe it was more. Was it 12 years, 10 years? Somewhere in that ballpark. It was $340
$13,340.
Yeah. So they've invested so much into you. And then you would think after you get into an accident like that, you're like, okay, maybe I should be a little more diligent. Be a little more careful, not mess around. Don't want to end up like Madison Bumgarner. He had a big dirt biking accident a couple years ago. And then you get to another one. It's like, I mean, this guy really likes to get on that bike and race around a little bit. And that's a huge loss for the Padres. This is a guy that, he could be an MVP candidate, MVP finalist. The guy's supposed to be the face of baseball. You can't have the face of baseball riding around getting into accidents. I don't see Mike Trout doing that. So I don't think that's a huge story. And how does that affect the Padres offseason? Does that put them more in the running for a Trevor Story or something like that? We know they're looking to move Eric Hosmer. They're looking to move Will Myers. Now, Andrew, I'll let you start. I mean, this must have just been a field day for you because Trey Turner would never. I mean, all these
Trey Turner, Carlos Correa, all these guys. This guy's an idiot. And think about it. He can have his contract voided. And, there is, clause in your contract. You can't do certain things. If that was in the contract, the Padres would have been like, bye. They can get out of that money easily. So he's an absolute idiot. Again, great ball player. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Great professional ball player.
Wait a minute. I see the name right here. Ryan Yarbrough.
I've seen that a few times.
That's a name that I would definitely.
Can we stop trading Beatty? Beatty ain't going in the Yarbrough.
We're not. I didn't see that part. No, we're definitely not trading Beatty for Yarbrough. But that's the kind of arm I'm looking at. That lefty.
Beatty's going for J.
He could start. He'd come out of the bullpen. Yes. Tampa's willing to listen. I mean, Tampa's not going to sign him long term, so that's a really good name. I like that.
Yeah,
that's
it's a flex that you can use him in the bullpen and as a start.
Yeah, because that's what the Rays do. They use him whether it's opener, as a bulk guy, and he just has that funky delivery. He's a weird matchup guy. He's a weird look. I mean, because let's say you have, I don't know, if you wanted to bulk him with a McGill or even a Walker's, whoever, a right-hander that like assures that's throwing hard, then all of a sudden you bring in Yarbrough, it's such a different look. I mean, you all of a sudden here's like, wait a minute, we're going from this hard-throwing right-hander to a lefty that, he's throwing a kind of funky. So I definitely think that's a name to keep an eye on. I haven't seen anything like that happen. There's been no rumors about him, but that's how the Mets operate. We didn't hear a single word about Chris Bassett. We didn't hear a single word about Adam Ottavino. It's usually the guys you don't hear about are the guys that the Mets get, because I feel like a lot of times with the kind of money the Mets are spending with the owner they have, when you hear the Mets linked to someone, there's a good chance it's the agent. It's not the Mets that are linking that name. So, I mean, the Mets always come out of nowhere. Rich Hill he materialized very quickly when they acquired him. That came out of nowhere with the Rays. So I wouldn't mind Ryan Yarbrough. Kiermaier, not really. I mean, I'm good with Nimmo. I'm good with Marte. I need someone better off.
It pisses me off that I knew that like we were gonna somewhat pay for letting Rich Hill go. They should have brought him back.
I like Rich Hill as he would have been like we're talking about a 6-man, a long reliever, a weird delivery from the left side to kind of trick off hitters. I said that from the beginning. Rich Hill would make a really nice bullpen arm. When they had him, I was saying that, but. And he would have get 1 year, $5 million, $6 million with the Red Sox. That wasn't bad. And he pitched pretty good. Like, I didn't have any problem with Rich Hill. It was just that he could only go 5 innings, which is fine. I mean, at the age the guy is, I mean, I'm good with just 5 innings. He would have been a really nice fit. But again, that's one they let get away. Let him. I mean, have the Mets re-signed anybody yet?
No.
Steven Nagosic.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like, as far as like the actual guys, Hand gone, Familia, Conforto, Syndergaard, Stroman, Avi, all of them.
They told every single one of them to screw off.
Yeah. Who's the second lefty in the Brewers pen? Mets fan, you were going nuts about.
Oh, fuck! What's his name?
Sorry,
is it Eric Ewer?
No, because I mean it's something to keep in mind because.
I'm saying the curse word.
I don't even think the Brewers are looking at it from an aspect of like, okay, we need another lefty if we move on from Hayden. Like, Hayden is their closer. Yes, you could move Devin Williams, but like, I think the Brewers have to be absolutely blown away for them to move Hayden. Their team is too good to give away such an important piece like that. No,
Brent Suter. That's what I was thinking.
Brent Suter. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, the Brewers are just going to finish behind the Cardinals in second place, which is great. But just saying.
And we expanded playoffs. I mean, we're going to get to that later on. But I mean, a lot of teams have a chance. I mean, the Brewers, they're one of the teams that are so smart, they'll make it regardless, expand the playoffs or not, because they've been making it every year. Should the Mets sign Bryant? I mean, sure, why not?
They have an offer on the table for Bryant. They have a 1 year.
Why not?
Somebody, I don't know who reported it. I think it was Heyman that said the Mets have a 1 year, $30 million offer on the table for Bryant.
I didn't see that one.
I forgot where the hell I saw it this morning. It was from this morning.
I mean, at this point, it's something to keep in mind because I think that with the way things are going, you have spring training games starting later this week. This whole lockout really affected the whole free agency market. You could see some guys take a 1 year deal. If you want to give Conforto a 1 year deal, I mean, why not? Especially if Marte is hurt, why not?
I mean, you can do a lot. The Brewers have so many arms that I just want my hands on.
Yeah, we're gonna get to.
We'll get to Freeman
later. Okay, so then let's go to our next topic, which is the Matt Olsen trade. So we get to talk about the National League East and Matt Olsen heading over to the Atlanta Braves in exchange for. Andrew, you have the package pulled up right in front of you. I know it was Christian Pache was one of probably like the headliner piece, but.
I would not. I would call him the least.
It's debatable. They gave up 1 and 2. Who's 1? Who is 2?
No, he's probably the least interesting prospect they got. So I'd call him the worst piece in the trade. But because he's pipeline has him because they haven't updated it. Christian Pache, who at the time is the number 1 prospect in the Brave system, quotation marks on that. Shea Langoliers, catcher, there was the number 2. Ryan Kusik, I guess he's a right-handed pitcher. He was the 6th, and Joey Estates was the 14th prospect in the Braves system.
Yeah, and at first I was like, I don't know about this when I saw Pache and those other names because we know that the Braves, they had called up Christian Pache. He was getting some reps in the outfield. We know his glove is good, but we haven't seen anything offensively quite yet. And for your number 1 prospect, and they benched him at some point. and they had to acquire all these other outfielders. That's why you saw the Soler, the Jock Peterson, the Eddie Rosario, the Adam Duvall, and even with Acuna getting hurt, there wasn't really much of a spot for Christian Pache. So it kind of showed the way the Braves were feeling about him so far, and then for them to trade him away. At the time, people think that, the Braves got away with one, but I was saying that if the Mets gave up their number 1 and number 2 plus number 6 plus number 14, because Shea is a catcher, right? Andrew, the guy who should be the number 1, and like he's not necessarily Alvarez, but it's pretty close to Alvarez.
He's the Braves version of Alvarez.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like and then I don't even think the Mets really have a Pache comparison. Maybe Mauricio,
Alex Ramirez. I would say more Alex Ramirez.
But still, for them, he's number 1, number 2. For the Mets, Alex Ramirez like later in the farm system. But still, like that kind of package for a guy who only has 1 year left on his deal, and you're getting rid of the face of your franchise and Freddie Freeman in all likelihood. So I mean, all that combined, it's a weird move. But I mean, Carson, you can speak on it because you watch plenty of A's game. Matt Olsen is also really freaking good, though. So, I mean, is this something that, like, let's say you saw this kind of offer. Would you be willing to give up that much for Matt Olsen?
If I'm the Mets, no, mainly because you do have a first baseman, even though he's pretty stupid. But Braves, fuck you, man. Like, what the hell? Why do they always get away with this? This is so annoying. Oh, man. And I can definitely see them locking him down as well because they're just letting Freeman go. And Olsen is also young, too. He's, 29? I mean, damn it. It's just so frustrating, but I mean, like I said a few days ago how I don't want them to get another bat until the trade deadline as for the Mets, but like when they bring in Olsen, it's like maybe you have to.
And Acuna is pretty close to coming back too. He's saying that, he's working. Acuna is really trying to get back up there. So that's going to be another pain in the neck to deal with all over again. And Matt Olsen is also a great defender. Guys won a Gold Glove. Oh, and he improved definitely in not striking out as much. He had been one of those guys that was kind of like one of those big-time pull power hitters, strikeout, home run kind of guy. But he's able to decrease those whips. He was able to draw plenty of walks this season. And when the shift gets banned, Matt Olsen is going to get even better. So, I mean, Andrew, you're also we're all Matt Olsen fans. Like, I mean, who doesn't like Matt Olsen? But, I mean, what is your reaction to Olsen being a Brave?
I mean, I'm seeing Twitter and I saw people actually shocked at this, and I'm like, is everybody just a brain dead idiot, or does no one know how to read? Because it was either Olsen or Freeman in Atlanta, and they chose the younger one. So I'm not surprised. I do love what the A's got.
He's 27. He's
27. And he's gonna have year 28 and 29 against the Mets, and then obviously free agency, who knows? It would kind of suck because I've heard a little bit that they maybe want to extend him right away. So that would kind of be a slap in the face with what's it called?
To Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the guy is literally the face of the franchise. You'd think you would do maybe a solid by him, but
and I think the Braves definitely turned heel here, if I can use some wrestling lingo right here.
Yeah.
Freddie, you want to get revenge? There's a team in Queens that needs another bat here. If you want to come on over, I mean,
if there was like, let's say the Mets did actually, like, I don't know if they did make an offer to Brian 1 year, $30 million, but if there was one guy on the market, I'd make a 1 year, $30 million offer to it. It's Freddie Freeman. I mean, again, just to stick it to the Braves and just have that nasty, can't get him out bat in your lineup. He would just be so perfect. He really would. If you needed one bat, Freddie Freeman's the guy. It's like, you do not want to face this guy. He carried it to a World Series. I mean, that's just how freaking good he is. So, again, we're going to get very familiar with Matt Olsen. We're going to see plenty of him. I'm not looking forward to it, but I can't say that I'm upset that we're not going to be facing Freddie Freeman quite as often. But I just hope that he doesn't go to the Dodgers. We'll get to that later. You could do this, but Mark Vientos does not become the next David Wright. I don't think Mark Vientos becomes a starting third baseman right away. I feel like Escobar a shot, and then depending on how things go, then maybe eventually a Vientos could take his job, and then down the road, eventually Beatty gets involved. So, I mean, that's just the way it's going to go. It's going to be interesting to see how the Mets, we've been talking about it for a while, but with the whole third base situation, they got so many guys that are up and coming, but the guys that they have now, I like Escobar, but he's not David Wright, obviously. He's not like the future third baseman, oh my God, amazing player. Just a solid player. That's all he is. He's okay.
Yeah. Crap.
All right, we'll go with that. Okay, the next trade that happened, Jesse Winker and Eugenio Suarez heading over to the Seattle Mariners in exchange for Justin Dunn, not Zion Williamson, but a different Williamson, and
Yes.
Jake Fraley. So, Andrew, I know Dunn and Fraley are not considered prospects anymore, but they still are young players. I mean, it's not like they were getting these old veterans that had these expiring contracts. I mean, they're still in their early 20s, I imagine, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I
But
know, yeah, Dunn is. Fraley might be older. Fraley
but
is.
Wilson is really the headliner piece in that deal. So I mean, how do you feel about that package? If you're Cincinnati, I mean, is that worth it? Giving up Winker, who wasn't making a crazy amount, and had a Suarez contract, who was really reasonable. I mean, how do you feel about that package?
I mean, again, Dunn is still young. So is Fraley. Fraley's 26. I thought Fraley was a lot older. I mean, he has that beard.
Yeah, the
So I thought
beard
he was
makes
like,
it older,
I
yeah.
thought I looked, made him look a hell of a lot older. But Williamson here is the main piece going back. Left-handed starter, second round pick, 59th overall, 6'6", 20, I believe 21 years old. Last year in Double A ball, 3.3 ERA, 19 starts, 98 in the third innings. He will be teaming up with another big, juicy left-handed starting pitching prospect with Cincinnati with Nick Lodolo. They are kind of the same type of pitcher. And then you add him with Hunter Green, and then Bryce Petty, who was in the Sonny Gray trade.
A lot of good MLB The Show cards, man. Oh my goodness, Lodolo, Hunter Green. I mean, woof.
Exactly, and they all throw 102, 101 or more. So to have that, and then having Lodolo and Williamson both on the left side, and then obviously Green and Petty, which Petty's way further down the line. It's a good package. Dunn still has got a little bit of upside. Hasn't really shown much in the big leagues. Well, of course, obviously, former first-round pick moved in the Kelnick deal. But, again, Williamson's the main piece here to have that fastball slider, huge left-handed pitcher. You never can go wrong. Or at least it's easier. It's more important to get lefties, especially now the Mets don't have it. Everybody's bitching about the Mets not having a lefty. Having Williamson, he could be either a nasty reliever if he doesn't pan out as a starter. That's kind of the flexibility of getting a lefty, and especially when they're throwing 100. I think every team can use a lefty that throws 100. So again, they're giving up the all-stars and good MLB to show cards and Winker and Suarez, but to be able to get back a Williamson, Dunn with still a little bit of upside, I guess you can still say, and is young. But going from Seattle to since the Great American Small Park isn't going to help that potential as a pitcher. But it was a good move to get Williamson, and Dunn is kind of a third chance. Say, hey, third year organization, see if you stick here.
Yeah, and I think that if the Reds truly are in complete fire sale mode, sell everything must go, give a call about Amir Garrett. I mean, I think I feel a little better about Amir Garrett than I do Tony Watson. I mean, that's a lefty. He throws hard. We know he's got that dog mentality, so to speak, and we know he's willing to have a fight. So I wouldn't mind seeing Amir Garrett. I could see him fitting into New York with the kind of personality he has. And I just think it's someone that's at least worth giving a call on and see what happens. But Metsfan, I wanted to ask you about Eugenio Suarez, because this is a guy that going into 2021, he was someone that a lot of Mets fans were talking about. Oh my gosh, one of the best power hitters in the league. And then we saw Suarez play, and it was rough. I mean, this guy struck out so much. Only time he got hits was pretty much hitting a home run. The Reds moved around. He played third base. He played shortstop. Do you see anything metric-wise that Eugenio Suarez could get back to that guy he was prior to 2021, where he is one of those premier power hitters, one of the best power hitters in all the baseball? Because I remember this guy that was chasing Pete Alonso for the home run title in 2019. Do you see anything numbers-wise that could maybe suggest that would happen, going into Seattle?
No, not really. I think he was one of the worst players in the league, I'd say, last year.
Even advanced numbers wise too.
Yeah, wow. He was bad. He was bad. Like him, Jackie Bradley Jr., like those guys, all of them were just awful. I mean, it's all or nothing. Like that's the thing. Like you don't really have much redeeming qualities with that guy. Like, I mean, you have the other king of strikeouts with Javi Baez, but like he also has other things that he does to provide value. And even though, Suarez is a decent defender and he's pretty good, he's got a strong arm, it's just not like, I mean, if you need somebody like the bottom of the lineup to drive someone in, or it's this or that, but like, I don't know. I don't see it. I think he's just completely fallen off a hill right now. He's still young, but like in the trajectory he's going in, it's strike out a home run. That's what he is. I mean, that's pretty much Eugenio Suarez in a nutshell.
Yeah, and I think it's good that the Mariners got a third baseman after Kyle Seager retired. They needed a replacement. So Eugenio Suarez could be that guy. You have to wonder, how does that affect the Chris Bryant pursuit? Does that affect the Trevor Story pursuit? It shouldn't. I mean, you always have the J.P. Crawford element, and we know how good his glove is. But the Mariners, I mean, they could use another major league ready outfielder in somebody like Jesse Winker. I mean, we saw Jared Kelenic turn it on at the very end of the season, but for a while he hadn't got it going. Obviously, we know the emergence of Julio Rodriguez is on the way. So I know Andrew loves him, and how Julio Rodriguez, one of the better young players in all of baseball. But I just think, I mean, how do you feel, Andrew? Like, do you think that, are they out on Bryant? Should they still be on Trevor Story? How is that going to affect Rodriguez coming up and Kelenic and all the guys? Kyle Lewis. I mean, how is that whole dynamic going to play out in Seattle?
I think they're out on Bryant. I think that Suarez can be their bottom of the lineup. I don't think they're out on Story. I think Story's still a possibility. But I do think the pursuit of Bryant, especially now with Winker, they have an outfielder, and like DePoto does like the positional flexibility, which I was surprised that I guess he had to attach the contract just to get Winker, which again, they have Haniger, they have Kelenic, they have Lewis, they have Taylor Trammell, who's still hanging around there in Seattle, and obviously my man J-Rod and Zach DeLoach is another good outfield prospect. I think he's their fourth best prospect in their system. A lot of good outfielders and pitching prospects with the Seattle Mariners, but again, right now, maybe DePoto sees, maybe trade to Kyle Lewis. They're giving Kyle Lewis time. Okay, so he's still injured. Okay, I thought he got injured, but like maybe they flip Lewis.
See him at the end of the season, but still, I mean.
But yeah, J-Rod is going. Once J-Rod is ready, which J-Rod could start opening day, I think they'll maybe give him a little more seasoning. Beef him up a little bit more in AAA, because he got the AAA at the end of this past season. Obviously, kind of got derailed because he played in the Olympics for Team the Dominican Republic, so that took away a lot of his minor league season. But he did play at AAA, AA. Great human being. So he gets the Rhino approved. Obviously, signed about 7 different things combined. So a couple of balls, very good. Again, I've said the Mariners have a top 3 farm system. I will argue that their pitching and outfield depth is godly. You saw Logan Gilbert, and obviously Kyle Lewis has been called up. Kelenic, is Kelenic, obviously. But once J-Rod's there, J-Rod is going to get a spot, and he don't care who's in that outfield. He probably goes in left. They've played him in center. I've seen him play center. He could play it. I wouldn't call it that's his best position. He's got.
I think they could probably go Kelenic center, Winker in left, and J-Rod in right.
You could do that, but then Haniger, I guess you move Haniger to DH. I guess you could do that. Then, maybe they flip Kyle Lewis.
I mean, you could DH Winker. You could. I mean, you could
do that. Yeah, I would much prefer.
Yeah.
But even Haniger's not good.
I'm thinking this takes him out of the Conforto running for sure.
I think they're out of
crowded. So, I mean, that's one less suitor you have to worry about, Mets fans. So, maybe Conforto's chance to get a little better of, going to National League East. Maybe not the Mets.
It's over. It's over.
There's won a bunch of Mets, so
Hey, exactly. So confirms Conforto in left field.
This is a pretty good question right here. If you could choose one, Jock Peterson or Eddie Rosario, Mets fan, who are you taking for the Mets?
Jock. Big cock Jock. Man goes crazy.
Andrew?
Absolutely. And he can be off the bench. Like, perfect.
Yeah, I guess Jock Peterson. I don't love either of them.
Even the PR spark plug in Eddie Rosario, no love.
I play better defense, and I'm fat. If I can, use a Blake Martinez quote in baseball terms, this guy is literally brick hands
Jock's
in the
not
outfield.
Great either.
I mean, Jock had a good postseason run, but
they both did.
They both had, Jock is obviously
and Jock at least has a career of showing
doing it. So if I had a gun to your head, you had to add one of them. I'd do that. Maybe again. If I'm the Ep dog, I'm just sniffing around. Maybe a Nick Senzel from Cincinnati, or just to sniff around. Just sniff. Steven Piscotty. Just sniff around the trade market for an extra
has their sale going
for an extra
on.
outfielder. So if you're not going to go big game hunting like a Conforto, I'm called big game hunting, Michael Conforto, but to that level, I'm sniffing around. I'm sniffing around those like teams that are just blowing up, and even if it's like how they got Khalil Lee, there's a bigger trade.
Yeah,
just
be involved
keep
in
me
some
interested.
3-team deals.
Yeah, just
which I still don't know how the Mets even got Khalil Lee. That still makes no sense. They're kind of just like, we'll take like one of the best parts of the deal.
Yeah, we'll take it. You know, you can have a pitching prospect.
John Wicknowski and a player to be named later. But okay, so that is the Mariners aspect, and then to go over to the Cincinnati Reds portion of it. I mean, this one, it really just bothers me because we talk so much during the lockout about these teams that come across that they don't want to compete. These teams that come across like they don't want to spend money. And it bothers me when a team like the Cincinnati Reds in expanded playoffs, they have such a great chance of making the playoffs with the team they had during the lockout. I mean, when you have a top three of Luis Castillo, Sonny Gray, and Tyler Mahle, you have a good a chance as anybody in the league when you have those three. And they had Wade Miley, but they just, got rid of him for money purposes. You traded away Sonny Gray to get your prospects. Now you're giving away Winker, you're giving away Eugenio Suarez, and you're giving away Suarez for salary reasons for a guy that, like Metsfan said, he had a bad year, no question about it. But his contract isn't terrible. I mean, he's only making, like $13 million a year, $15 million a year over the next couple of years. That really is not a bad deal. And the same with Jesse Winker. He's not making a crazy amount of money either. So now you have a really nice young player in Jonathan India. You have Joey Votto just kind of rotting out the rest of his career. You got Mike Moustakas' contract. And still, their payroll is only like, $30 million, $50 million. And you know that Tyler Mahle, we saw the Mets were connected to him. Luis Castillo, they've been trying to trade for a million years, but they're asking for the moon and a few plans to go along with it. So it's going to be tough to pull that off. That might happen closer to the deadline. But it just bothers me that, their number 6 player, as far as payroll, they traded is Ken Griffey Jr. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr. played on the Cincinnati Reds so long ago, yet he's one of their highest paid players. So the fact that they have kind of just given up. Now, I'm all for having a great starting rotation, like you said, Andrew. The arms that they've brought in from all the moves they've made, we saw 2015 with the Mets. If you have a bunch of really good starting pitching arms, you have a good chance of making a successful team long-term, going forward. But I just think that to completely give up and be one of those teams that are pretty much going to tank when you get rid of literally everybody on your roster, it just bothers me because that's another team that is just not trying. And in the National League, we have too many of that. I mean, between the Reds and the Diamondbacks and the Rockies, we'll see, the Pirates. I mean, you just have so many teams that the Nationals, all those moves the Nationals have made, I didn't get to talk about the Nationals yet. The Nationals signed a bunch of guys. They're trading all of them at the deadline. They did the same thing last year. They signed Brad Hand to trade them. All these guys they signed, they are going to trade them, and the Nationals are not going to be very competitive. So we're going to have so many teams in the National League that are just not really trying, and it makes for such a bad product of baseball. Why are you adding expanded playoffs if these teams still are not going to try? I mean, I just don't get what – I get what Cincinnati is doing, but I don't like what Cincinnati is doing because if you have a pretty good core, why not freaking try? Why not compete? You have all this money coming in, Peacock money coming in, ESPN money coming in, all this stuff. I mean, there's no excuse why you can't be a team that is now going to try to compete with the good core that you have so far. I mean, what do you guys think about Cincinnati's
I mean, it also just gives you more of a possibility of an 80-win team going to the playoffs as well. I mean, it just eliminates some of these guys, some of these teams. I mean, maybe the Diamondbacks are building a little bit something, but they're not.
Maybe the Cubs or Marlins sneak in. I don't know.
Yeah, the Cubs or Marlins, maybe. I mean, the Pirates are not going to be in.
No Marlins. No more Marlins.
Fuck the Marlins. The Phillies stink. So
I think lotteries make everybody tank because I mean. Teams that don't necessarily have the worst record still have a really good chance. I mean, we see it in the NBA, everybody tanks for the lottery. So I don't think that helps deter tanking too much, right, Andrew?
And the fact that it's only 16. I mean, that's why just adding this lottery and it doesn't make sense if they're going to do it with the 16s. So that tells them, okay, we got to be a bottom 16. Why don't they do a draft lottery like every other sport does that is 1 through 16, 1 through 15, depending on how many teams are per league who don't make the playoffs, so it doesn't incentivize, we got to be in the bottom 6 to get in the lottery. No, make it 1 through 15 or 1 through 15 or whatever. Who does 1 through 12?
Are they doing that or are they doing like all the teams that don't make the playoffs, they have a chance to get a top 6 pick? Are they doing that, or are they just doing
I
bottom 6?
I think it's the
whichever
bottom.
order?
Yeah, I think it's the bottom
Oh,
6,
that's
and then
stupid.
so yeah, they can't
That's
even do
ridiculous.
what every other sport does. So I
That's
think it's stupid. I don't know. I mean, I think even with the extra playoff spot, I mean, it's only one spot more, and it's again, you're gonna get like I tweeted out. There's still good teams out there, so the 6 teams are most likely.
And they wanted 14, so they wanted
Yeah.
even another.
They wanted
spot.
another one.
And who knows? At some point, it could happen. It really.
What makes
I wouldn't
it
be shocked
stupid
if it
is
did
that
at some point.
these guys aren't going to be in the majors when they're drafted, so it just makes
Yeah.
it even dumber.
That's
like,
yeah.
Yes, and
like,
that's the, like lotteries work in the NBA. Like, okay, you tank and you get a number 1 pick, he
Yeah.
saves your franchise. I mean,
Yeah.
Cavaliers, LeBron James saves your franchise. But
Yeah.
in baseball, it takes a few years, and even if the guy is amazing, it does nothing. Look at Mike Trout and the Angels; it does nothing. So it tanking in baseball, unless you're the Astros and you have to cheat anyway,
it's
doesn't
the
really work.
biggest. Baseball's the biggest team game out of all of them. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is.
It's because you
It really
can't
is.
like tank and get a star quarterback either, because the NFL is such a quarterback-driven league. I mean,
Like,
there's
you know,
no
hockey, a
position in
hot goalie
baseball-
can carry you. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, a quarterback can carry you. You know, a point guard could carry you. Baseball, it's like, you know, it's a team game. I mean, go
But
ahead.
still, it's just that when the Reds get rid of all their good players, they're not showing like they want to compete. That's what I'm getting at. They're not putting across the perception that, okay, we want to compete. They're literally getting rid of everybody, and they're trying to get rid of even more. So I just don't get it. Because, again, like Winker's contract, the Henry Suarez contract, it wasn't terrible. And, you know, like Andrew said, you get a really good pitcher, but at what cost? You know what I mean? That's just the question you got to ask yourself.
Free Joey Votto. That's all I gotta say. It's free Joey Votto.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any interest
Joey
in him?
Votto, you want to come over, be our D8?
Are we gonna talk about the car accident? Because I had a hell of a joke ready to go if we were gonna talk about it.
I don't want to joke about car accidents. I really.
I mean, he's good, so we could joke about it because he's fine. But you know, because he was safe.
I prefer.
My only joke is that
Okay.
Andrew was driving the car.
I mean, yeah, it was definitely me, bro. I saw red.
He's one of the
you know.
suspects.
Well, I am.
No,
But
Lottie's
that's
okay
what-
though. That's
Oakland
fine.
always does that though. Oakland's always like
That's
kind of
yeah, they're
competitive,
farm.
Oh,
but
because their
treat
owner's a
everybody.
cheapskate. He's
Yeah.
a piece of garbage. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Reds owner's a Cardinals fan,
he
so
pocket,
he wants
he
the Cardinals
pockets
to win
it.
the
He's
division,
one
so.
of the most wealthy owners out of all of them. That's the crazy thing.
And
He's
they
like,
consistently
what is he
keep a
like
low
the
payroll.
eighth richest owner out of all of them? Maybe ninth because Cohen's here now. Like, he's a moron. He's an idiot. That dude. He's, oh God.
Okay. The next
Ugh.
topic I wanted to move to is a little while ago, we saw a picture of Eddie Rosario warming up, doing some batting practice. And in the distance, there was a bucket where the baseballs were being held. And that bucket, if anybody wants to pull it up, had a very certain team on it, a team that was kind of interesting, if you ask me. That's the zoomed in picture. But if I kind of, take out the blur, I think I see some buildings and I see some blue and orange. And what is the guy wearing that's pitching to him? What are those blue and orange colors that the guy pitching to him is wearing? That's a little suspicious because, and then when they ask Eddie Rosario about it, he says it's nothing. Okay, where do you even get that New York Mets bucket? Eddie Rosario.
From Lindor? From Lindor, maybe?
Yeah, did
Puerto Rican
Javi
buddies?
give it to him? Did Lindor, Diaz, all the
I
Puerto
don't
Ricans?
No, it's definitely Javi's
Did
bucket.
he get from
yeah.
Ricky, the bullpen coach, the
Bonus.
former bullpen coach?
Jeez.
I mean, who gave it to him? You don't just get that at Modell's or a nearby store. You don't just get a Mets bucket. So he can say whatever he wants, but
I'm just hoping he stole it because I don't
that's
want
a
him.
little bit suspicious in my book. But we'll see. I mean, nothing has come out of it, but I definitely think it's something worth noting because like we saw the entry to Marte. We saw how big of an impact Rosario had. He's a pretty good player. He's a spark plug guy. He got a lot. He helped the Braves out a lot in that playoff run. I mean, he definitely was a huge piece, and he got a lot of good MLB The Show cards for it. So I just thought it was interesting. Like, I mean, where do you get that? Seriously, you don't just get that anywhere.
I'm hoping he stole it because I don't want him. So
I mean,
Even
yeah,
as a
hoping he
bench
stole it.
piece.
I mean, he doesn't
No,
want him
no,
because he
no.
would replace Luis Guillorme. He would take Guillorme.
No, he takes Dom Smith's job. Would you rather have Dom Smith or?
Well, Dom's got to get traded first. And the Mets love this guy, so
I know, but he just doesn't really have much of a role. He really doesn't. Okay, the next rumor that we saw that it's come up a couple of times today, just because John Heyman likes to tweet the same thing 30 different ways.
Yeah.
But the Colorado Rockies have interest in actually getting a player, and they have been taking a hard look at Chris Bryant. Now, this is something that's really interesting because along with the Reds, the Rockies are a team that I love to bash. I think they are easily one of the worst run organizations in the whole sport. They have no idea what they're doing. They completely botched the Arenado trade. They botched the John Gray situation. They botched Trevor Story. You could trade him and got at least a few decent pieces. Look what the Cubs did with Chris Bryant. You can at least get a couple of decent pieces. Look what the Cubs did with Javi Baez and Anthony Rizzo. Like, the Rockies could have got something. Even for John Gray, they could have got something. And they got nothing for either one. I'm pretty sure they didn't even qualifying offer John Gray. You just let him go. You don't get anything compensation-wise. And now all of a sudden you want to put in a bunch of money to Chris Bryant on a team that absolutely stinks. If anything, I think this benefits Chris Bryant more than it benefits the Colorado Rockies, because even if the Rockies did get Chris Bryant, they're still going to stink. They had no Arenado, and they weren't very good. And we know Trevor Story is going to be gone. We don't know. I doubt the Rockies are going to do anything else significant. Meanwhile, Chris Bryant, he'll get some inflated numbers, hit all those fly balls. They'll become home runs in Coors Field. If he's smart, he'll take a one-year deal, have a monster season, and then have some fool give him a big, 5 to 7 year deal. So, Carson, what are your thoughts about the Rockies? Do you think this is for real? Like, they actually would – because Chris Bryant, Scott Boras, they're looking for a big deal. Like, I mean, the Rockies can't be the team, right? Like, after everything we know about them, they can't be the team that give Chris Bryant the big deal he's looking for.
The Rockies are the team where I just, every time that they do something, I'm like, okay, but why? It's like the same thing with the Raiders. Like, that's how I see it. It's like, why? I mean, like, I can see where you're going, but why? Like, why? The market will be amazing for Chris Bryant. Unless he has like one of those, late 90s Dante Bichette seasons where all his numbers get inflated by Coors Field. But crazy story, by the way, but that's another topic for another day. But I mean, anyone can benefit from a one-year deal with Colorado, especially offensively. So if he wants to do it, he wants to do it. Maybe balances out the league a little more, keeps them away from the Dodgers, keeps them away from the Yankees, it keeps them away from other teams, guys in our division too. So, yeah, exactly. The Phillies, and I've even heard the Braves too. So
I thought Austin Riley is this amazing player. I mean,
but you can move that dude to DH.
Bryant around, but we'll see.
You can move that dude to DH. So.
Yeah, they still have to figure out what they're going to do with the rest of the outfield, because they have Acuna, they have Duvall, but they still haven't done anything about, we said, Soler, Peterson, and Rosario. So they're still – and they trade away Pache, so there still is an outfield spot open for Atlanta. They always can put Chris Bryant there. But, Andrew, what are your thoughts? Bryant, Rockies, do you think it's going to happen? Should it happen? How do you feel about it?
I mean, I said this on iTalk stream earlier. If you can get a multi-year deal with a year one opt-out, things can go two ways. One, you turn it into prime Albert Pujols, who hit 45 bombs, driving 122, and have this ungodly season and get paid at the end of the year and opt out. Or if you get a $20 million AAV each year, and let's say he gets hurt or blows out his ACL or continues to decline, you're getting paid $20 million, and you lock yourself at least in 23 or whatever $1 million. And if you bounce back, you get traded. It makes sense for at least Bryant perspective. I think we got to remember that teams are still trying to sell tickets, and the Rockies could, say, hey, whole ticketing marketing, hey, former MVP, Rookie of the Year, World Series champion. So
that's a Wilpon kind of advertising.
And look who's owning the Rockies. They act like the Wilpons. So, it makes sense for Bryant more than it does for the Rockies. But then the Rockies can be like, oh, there's how many Bryant jerseys they can sell.
Bryant has all the leverage.
Of course, Bryant has all the leverage. But,
it
it makes sense more for Bryant if he doesn't get that big deal he's looking for from a good team to go to the Rockies and go play in Coors Field and just absolutely mash. And if you get hurt and maybe you do get a long-term deal, you're going to get paid anyway. So I think it makes more sense. Or maybe get like an opt-out after this year and then an opt-out after, let's say we give them a 5-year deal, an opt-out after the third year. Give it with Boras. He's willing to do that. So there's definitely
Arenado. I mean, he had the opt-out in his
But he didn't want it. Everybody forgets that. Nolan didn't want the opt-out.
Yeah.
It was
But it's a good thing he had it, though, because if let's say that trade to St. Louis never happened, he could have got out there and went to St. Louis on his own merit, without having to be traded.
I mean,
So, with an organization like that, you always want a bit of an exit strategy because you don't want to be caught in the abyss that they're in. Like Charlie Blackmon's smart. He opted in. He's like, you know what? I'm taking that bag. I don't care if you lose. I'm going to get my money, boy. So Chuck Nasty don't care. So, I mean, you got to give him
I mean, we also talk about how Bryant has all the leverage here. He's also represented by Scott Boras. He is going to milk them for anything if they really, really want him, and he's going to screw them over because they're the Rockies and they're,
they could
and they're a dumb, So, I don't know, man. I mean, good for Bryant if he can pull that off, and but jeez, I don't know.
And then the next team that we were going to cover, as they've been looking at some players to improve their offense, the Toronto Blue Jays. There are reports that they've been taking quite a look at Freddie Freeman, could potentially move Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to third base. And they've also been looking at Kyle Schwarber, who's, we know, more of a DH bat, but he technically, like I said, he technically plays first. He technically plays left, but he doesn't play him particularly well. So for Toronto, I mean, if they could get either one, that's quite a boost because they already have a really, really, really good offense to begin with. They've been adding to the rotation. We know you already got Barrios, you already got Hyun-Jin Ryu. They added Kikuchi. They have Alek Manoah. I mean, they got plenty of pitchers. Nate Pearson eventually, if he ever gets it going all the way. I mean, the Toronto Blue Jays, they are getting off to quite a good start. With the expanded playoffs, I easily could see them taking one of those slots easily. I could see Toronto making it. And if you add a Freddie Freeman or you add a Kyle Schwarber, you want to make that lineup even stronger. So what are your guys' thoughts? I mean, Andrew, how do you feel about Freeman or Schwarber? I mean, how dangerous does that make Toronto really?
I mean, they have one of the best rotations, or at least one of the deeper rotations in the game. I would say top-wise, Barrios, I don't think he's a good pitcher. I don't think he's a true ace, but he's a good pitcher. They have a good depth 1 through 5 in that rotation. Obviously, you said Nate is coming. I think they should make Pearson a closer, just my opinion. But the lineup is absolutely disgusting, and if you add a Freddie Freeman to that lineup, have fun Yankees rotation, just consisting of Garrett Cole, and that's it. Again, you had Freeman in that lineup. You had Kyle Schwarber in that lineup. It's a hitter's-friendly ballpark. It's perfect. And, yes, Vlad started as first base. He came up. Man was a bona fide tub. Like, my man, but think about it. That's what minor league players do. They don't have the major leaguers don't give a shit about. The major teams don't care about them. So they don't have the proper nutrition. They don't have all that because they're busting their ass just trying to get ABs. And guess what? They go, post-game Chick-fil-A, a post-game Wendy's meal because the team's not paying them. So, he's got some girth. And, obviously he's gotten the weight down. Now he looks, okay, he's dead.
That was not the right word.
He's still a tub. He's still a thick boy, more in the lower end reason than the upper end reason. But again, he's now more athletic. He's leaned out a little more. Maybe he has more athleticism now. You can put him back at third base to open a spot for Freddie. And like you said, again, if it's Schwarber has played a little first, I mean, I think he would only move to third for Freeman. They're not going to do that for Schwarber, but you had Freddie in that lineup with Bo, Gurriel, Teoscar. That lineup is ungodly amount. And another tub and my man Alejandro Kirk. Like, there's some beef in Toronto. Toronto loves themselves some beefy boys. And God, imagine Freddie and Canada eating poutine. He gonna beef up Freddie too. So I think it would be a great move if Toronto can steal Freddie from the Yankees and help us out. Because go to the American League and just
don't go to the Dodgers. As long as it's not the Dodgers or Yankees, Freddie is more than welcome to go wherever he wants. And they also have to make up for losing Marcus Semien. I mean, that's something that's not really talked about because he had such a great year in Toronto, hitting 40-plus home runs as a second baseman. So they definitely could use one more nice little power bat to just keep making that offense elite year in, year out. And both those guys have to accomplish it. Metsfan, do you have any thoughts on the fit of Freeman or Schwarber in the Canada region?
I mean, it would definitely complete that lineup. I mean, I don't know who was their DH last year. Like, who was technically their DH?
Yeah, Teoscar.
Is it Teoscar Hernandez? Okay.
Yeah, because Grichuk was in the outfield.
Grichuk. Okay.
Springer.
Yeah, I think what's his name? Was it Ross Atkins? I mean, he's trying to,
Atkins,
he's trying
Mhm.
to win. I mean, he has a perfect balance of young talent and free agents, and it sucks they didn't make it last year. I think they just missed it out.
Yeah, they were really,
They
really
were
close. They were right
yeah.
there.
But yeah, they'll make it. They would make it in an expanded playoffs if they add another bat into that, and they'll probably make the expanded playoffs with the team they have now. So I mean,
Between them
they're
and
a good team.
Seattle, I'd
Yeah.
say. Them and Seattle.
They're a good team. I mean, they've had some really good off seasons that have been stacked on each other the past like 3 off seasons. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, and it can torture the Yankees, so that'll be great. I mean, why not?
You see something, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean it's from earlier today, but I don't know why this isn't getting. It's from a, I guess, semi-reliable source. The guy's verified. The guy's got like over 30K followers. A lot of teams are now involved in signing Carlos Correa. A lot of teams. A lot of teams was the quote. A lot of teams are in on Correa. Deal is not imminent, but the term in a lot of teams is puzzling.
So he's basically got like 10 contracts in front of him, and he needs to sign one of them.
I guess
that
could mean that, or that could mean there's different teams calling, and maybe
college signing day.
Well, here's my thing with Correa, especially like if you want to throw the Mets to this equation. Is Carlos Correa willing to move off of shortstop? Because shortstop is the deepest position in the league. Because so many of the good teams have good shortstops. It's kind of like point guards in the NBA. Most good teams have good point guards. So I mean. Sorry.
No. I just saw something on Twitter just scared the living shit out of me. You're good.
Oh, okay. No, but I mean, like, if you're just looking around the league, it's like the Red Sox, we saw they're talking to Trevor Story, so you'd have to move Xander Bogaerts. I mean, the Yankees, I think they're out for that. I don't see the Yankees making a big splash, but Blue Jays have Bo Bichette. White Sox got Tim Anderson. I mean, you could just go down all the really good teams. The Astros obviously still are. They still could potentially do a reunion. The Cubs are kind of out there. Braves have Swanson. Like I said, the Phillies could do it. Mets have Lindor. So, I mean, it's kind of tough to make a fit on all teams. The Dodgers, they have Trey Turner. The Padres, they have Tatis when healthy. So, like, the teams are actually going to compete, actually going to spend money. Most of them already have a shortstop. So, for a lot of teams to be involved, I feel like the teams that spend money, they would have to move him around, and especially if it would relate to the Mets. And if he was a potential fit.
And I mean, he said he said he's willing to move to third for the right price. So
the right price or the right team? I feel like is the.
I've heard both.
I know one owner that would give that right price to him, though.
Yeah,
and I know one guy he's close with that would he be willing to move for.
Yeah, and I know a team that he played with. They played a hell of a good third base on.
I mean, I'm fine bringing in Eddie Rosario if it means that like more Puerto Rican guys come on here, and I'm fine taking it.
And then Javi will opt out and come back.
Javi opts out, comes back here.
We'll bring Yachty in. We'll trade McCann for Yachty. Get all the Puerto.
I mean, it's all a bridge. It's all a bridge to Juan Soto.
No, he's Dominican. He doesn't fit.
It's all a bridge to Juan Soto, though.
We always Puerto Rican.
He doesn't fit. He doesn't fit. Yeah, Juan Soto doesn't fit into any lineup exactly.
But if we're building a Puerto Rico team, it doesn't make sense. He's Dominican.
Yeah, TJ Rivera minor league contract.
Bring TJ back.
Though. I mean, Correa, he's the big domino. I'm really curious to see what happens with him. I feel like does Trevor Story get signed before Correa?
No. If Story would be an absolute.
Correa is the last one to go. He's the last domino to fall.
Yeah, you gotta wait. Yeah, if I'm Story, I'm waiting for where Carlos goes.
I feel like he's seen enough big shortstop deals happen, like Seager and Semien. So like there's enough of a market to work with. And obviously you already have the shortstop contracts of Lindor and Tatis to kind of go off of. But I mean, I guess he could wait for Correa. But I feel like I don't know. I feel like if I'm Story, maybe I'm in a little bit of a rush because let's say a team signs Correa, that's one less team that could sign me if I'm Trevor Story. You know what I mean?
But then there's the teams that miss out on Correa come to you. That's why he needs to wait to wherever Correa goes, because whoever misses out on him, then go to you, because you're the next domino. So, if he gets a contract he likes, sign. Dude, please give us something to talk about. But if I'm his agent and I'm him, I'm saying, hey, wherever Carlos doesn't go, I know they're gonna come calling me pretty damn soon. So, like, that's what I think for business wise, he needs to wait to see where Correa goes. If he just wants to get a job, go get a job. But if he wants to, kind of like, let's say, how desperate of a team can I get to give me a payday? I'd wait until see who doesn't get Correa, then pounce. That's just me, and that's how I approach the the GM kind of stuff. I'm sitting waiting and say, hey, who misses out? Let's say if it's the Astros, let's hypothetically the Mets come out, steal Correa out of nowhere, then boom, the Astros come very willing to come after me.
Whichever story.
Yeah, that's where I'm story. I'm waiting. I'm seeing where Correa lands. Even if it takes a while, because I could see somebody get real desperate for come get me. So that's just kind of how, at least story was.
Well, we have.
Off the top of my head, it's like the Astros, the Mariners, the Cubs, the Yankees, maybe the Dodgers, the Phillies. Those are the teams that I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, but then again, there could be mystery teams. I feel like the Angels should get involved, honestly.
Mets are there. The Mets are there.
I mean, the Angels do make sense. I mean, they lost Iglesias. They lost. I
wouldn't be surprised if the Mets were like the mystery team.
I wouldn't be, the Mets can come out of nowhere now. Steve can come out with a steel chair just bashing at somebody's head out of nowhere.
I mean, listen, I'd give Correa a 1 year, $30 million deal way before I give Chris Bryant 1 year, $30 million.
I'll give him 3 years, 100. I'll give him a Scherzer contract. You want to come play third? Give him a Scherzer contract.
Yeah.
I'm being serious. You think I'm joking? I'm being serious.
No, because it's like we've said before. In 3 years, all the money is gone anyway.
Exactly.
So you'd have 3 years of some pretty big penalties and bad draft picks, but
if you get a World Series, you don't care. And think about it. You're paying him his age 27, 28, 29 years. If you think him at 3 years.
Literally his prime. You don't have to pay. You don't have to give him 10 and have to deal with the 37, 38, 39.
I mean, I was thinking about this again. I do a lot of this. When I'm alone, I'd give him a 10-year deal and I give him a 5th year opt out. I'd give him
fifth year
opt out.
Mutual or
full player option, the full opt out after year 5. I would front load the first half. I'd give him $200 million in the first half and then pull out $100 million in the last 5. I would go. This is what I would do. There's that 5 that for Correa. That's what I'm doing. I'm putting $200 million front load that bitch and say, hey. So you're getting $200 million over 5 years. I don't know what the exact math is, and then the back half it's only $100 million. And it's like, hey,
we have the top 10 first basemen from MLB Network.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Did they released it? Let's see.
They did release.
Yeah. So the fact that Anthony Rizzo is on there is ridiculous, but whatever.
Yeah.
I was shocked that Gurriel didn't make it.
Correa always gets spite. Nobody seems to.
He had like a 137 WRC plus.
That's Frank's looking for something when he uses WRC plus for something.
Yeah, Yuli.
Vlad's the best. I'm sorry.
He doesn't have the longevity.
I lean Freddie.
Or the MVP.
I'd say it's Vlad. Vlad, Olsen, Muncy, then Freeman. Right now.
Really?
They're saying right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
I'd go Vlad, Olsen, Freeman, Muncy, Goldie. Yeah.
Brandon Belt, respect. That's respect.
Respect to Belt. I think he's better than Alonso, but
I'd say Votto's better than Alonso too, but
the disrespect to Jose Abreu, he's got an MVP.
MVP.
Jose Abreu should be out of the top 15.
But that shows for the Braves, they didn't keep Freeman, but they got a really nice first baseman.
Exactly.
It's like either way, they got a really good player.
It's like going to the buffet and they run out of chicken, but then you look next to it and then there's chicken strips. Like you're getting good value. You're getting what you want.
Make a food reference.
I mean, did you expect anything less?
He's getting hungry.
Dude, dude. I had fried chicken and mac and cheese for dinner. I'm fine, bro. I'm good.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure. We'll get to the last topic right before Andrew passes out and needs some food and he's crawling, But the last topic, because this is the one signing that did happen tonight so far, because as soon as I hit end broadcast, all the deals will happen. So don't worry, everybody. A bunch of deals will be coming very, very soon. As soon as I hit that
keep the old man up tonight.
Keep me up late again. Because I was about to go to bed last night, and then boom, Yankees let's finally get involved. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. You guys had all day to do this trade, but you want to pick right when I have my pajamas on and I'm going to bed. Now the Yankees want to make their move. So that was really messed up. Typical Yankees got to stick it to me. But anyway, the one signing that did happen tonight, Andrew McCutchen off the board to the Milwaukee Brewers on a 1 year contract. So Kutch, I don't know his metrics. He's not someone I really researched a lot because I really thought he was too much of a fit for the Mets. Once they got Canna and Marte, he's not someone I really looked at. So Metsfan, do you know any of McCutcheon's numbers, and do you see Milwaukee as a good fit for him playing over there?
He destroys left-handed pitching. That's what I know. And a guy is him as the first guy off the bench. I would have called him up and said, "Hey, McCutcheon, what do you want?" But Brewers got a good one right there. They got a young team there, and vet there can definitely fix it and help it. So, yeah, that's it.
What do you think, Andrew? How do you feel about the McCutcheon signing, and just about the Brewers' offense in general? Because I mean, I feel like we say the same thing every year. Brewers, we know the starting rotation is amazing. As of right now, they still have Hayden, Williams, plenty of other quality relievers in the bullpen. They always have good pitching. But the offense is like you have Yelich, who has not been MVP Yelich anymore, and then you have a bunch of like pretty good players here and there. And they lost Garcia, so.
So yeah, I guess this is their CL replacement. They do have what's their
they added Renfroe. They did.
They did add Renfroe. That's the
they still have Kane and Bradley though, don't they?
Well, let me see. I know they have Kane. They do have Kane in center. They do still have Lorenzo Kane if they were trying to trade him.
So you have Bradley in one spot, Kane in another spot. I guess Renfroe spot.
Renfroe.
So does McCutcheon become your DH?
Could be, or you could platoon him and JBJ. No, she's not in JBJ anymore. You maybe replace.
To be honest, with how horrific he is in the outfield, Yelich might be your DH.
Oof.
Yeah, maybe you platoon them too. Lefty,
his
righty.
defense is terrible.
Didn't they experiment like they were thinking about Yelich at first? Wasn't that like a consideration at some point?
Yeah, that was like
they might have to. That's the only way you might be able to get these guys.
Have to.
Fit.
He's just so like frail.
I haven't seen the actual like money on McCutcheon's deal. I just saw there was a 1-year deal.
Money.
I think you're paying Jackie Bradley too much if you're going to make him a defensive replacement or even a platoon guy. I mean, maybe you could platoon Bradley and McCutcheon, like Bradley against righties, McCutcheon against lefties, but still.
Bradley's in Boston.
Oh, did he go back to? That's right. He was in the Renfroe trade.
He's in the Renfroe trade. Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Right now, their outfield is Low Kane, Corey Ray. I knew he was like a top, one of their prospects at the time. Top Renfroe, Tyrone Taylor, and Yelich. Now you add McCutcheon to that list. Renfroe plays every day. Kane plays when possible every day, and then you would think Yelich. So maybe McCutcheon is your DH, or maybe the platoon. Maybe like alternate lefties. Kutch is in the lineup and left. Then again? You can get creative with it. They do have
to play most days, more days than not. I would think.
Oh no,
unless his health is a question mark still.
The platoon could be him and Rowdy Tellez at DH.
Yeah, you could do that. Well, who's gonna play first though? Is Tellez?
Well, they went and got Brasso, and they have Keston Hira playing first too.
Who's at second then? It wasn't Keston second base at some point?
Colton Wong.
Colton Wong's there, yeah.
Keston
Wong. They still Willie Adames, right?
Wong's at second. Adames at short. They need a third baseman. Right now it's Luis.
Because they got rid of Escobar.
I completely missed this.
What?
Zach Britton?
Oh.
He had been hurt, but he's still out. Wow, he's still out.
Really missed it.
They need it for the roster spot, so I'm not. Maybe it's little.
I know, but that's gonna be a while of just literally relying on Chapman and Loizaga, pretty much. Like
Loizaga's hard though. He goes hard.
No, Loizaga's good. Loizaga's good, but I don't know. I think the Yankees rotation.
Chad
like
Green's
you said a little earlier.
You
have Cole, and then it's like
bums.
They have good arms, but like most of them are like back of the rotation guys. Like none of them could be the number two.
Arms, but nobody that's like, wow, that's a really good guy behind Garrett Cole. Because you're looking at Jameson Tyone and Montgomery and Severino and Herman. Like again, quality pitchers, but they ain't no Jacob deGrom. They ain't no Max Scherzer. Or they even a Chris Bassett.
If Severino could be that two again, but
he's been so injured
back,
and even in the playoffs, that guy he mental makeup's not the greatest. I've seen him, have a tough game against the Twins. He'll do 4 innings and act like he did the world's, biggest job. He went 8 innings of no run ball. The guy's screaming like as if he won the game. Like, dude, you just barely survived against the Twins. Calm down. So, but we'll see how that goes. And you hope that Domingo Germán hope he doesn't punch anybody in the face. So. I don't know.
I think they still.
I think they should trade it.
Ridiculous.
I think it makes sense to trade Herman to the Phillies. I think it
Herman.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah, he'd fit really well in Philadelphia.
I think trading Chapman to the Phillies.
Hey, they get what
that
they
works.
want. They get that's a two-handed punch right
They
there.
need a closer.
That's a double.
They need a good closer.
That's a 1-2 knockout blow. You know, don't put any windows near them, and we'll be all right. Keep the window, keep them away from windows, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, and Gerard would get to have Chapman again. I'm sure he would love that.
He would love that. Hey.
Yeah.
All right, so if the chat has any other questions, if they do not, then we could end here because we have Mets Weekly on Thursday too. I'm sure we'll have plenty more topics to go over. Do you guys have anything else you want to like promote or any other thoughts you wanted to mention about any team? Or we good?
Hoping to record the ranking video this week.
There we
If
go.
not, it's next week, and then should be editing it for like a week and a half or something. And then it should be out. So
Andrew, we don't have any Giants videos about all the moves they've made and people they've lost yet, or
I've been sitting here streaming all day. Come on, probably I'll get to them eventually. But their offensive linemen are pretty good. I have a major project I've finished the prep work to it. I need to just get my ass to finish the graphics. But that's the next big project, which I'm hoping to get out before opening day. I highly doubt it because out before opening day, but at least part one of that will probably be out pretty soon. Hint, it does involve minor league baseball, so that will be there. You go. The Rhino
support
report.
minor league baseball.
Support minor league baseball, of course. Just watch No Way Home again, so I'll probably watch that 1,000 more times. Maybe but besides that. Not really coming through. Again, Mets news, if they drop videos, obviously video streams, I guess, as soon as usually when I have the time, when I can do it right after the signings, if, any other big blockbusters, obviously, go live and just talk about it.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, I've been doing the same thing. If any other news happens or any, obviously Mets related or Yankees related, or just huge move, or if there's like a ton of moves to make just into one stream, I will do that. But if there is nothing else, then I think we will end it there. So thank you, everybody that tuned in, whether it's now or later. Leave a like. That's great. Obviously, subscribe to all these guys. All their stuff is in the description. And until next one, be safe, be smart, be healthy, and let's go, Mets. Please get me a lefty reliever.